Yo, what is up YouTube? In this video, I'm gonna tell you how anybody, this isn't even hard stuff, how you can be in the top 1% of sports bettors, okay? So you're already doing the right thing. You're already watching an educational sports betting video. And the truth is, really anybody can make money betting on sports. Most people are just lazy. They don't put in any research. They don't learn about sharp, profitable betting strategies. And in this video, I'm going to show you 10 simple things. Anyone can do these things that are going to put you in the top 1% of sports bettors. So my name's Alex Monahan. I graduated from Stanford and I'm a very serious sports bettor. Last year, I made over $200,000. And the reason I specifically love sports betting, I also like poker. I'm a pretty good poker player, to be honest. But the reason I love sports betting is it's one of the rare few forms of gambling where you can actually get an edge and win long term. You're never going to meet a professional slots player. Anyone who tells you they're making money on slots is full of BS. They're an absolute liar. However, sports betting is one of the few forms of gambling like poker where you can get an edge and win long term. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 10 simple things you follow these things, you're gonna be in the top 1% of gamblers. And that's important, right? The truth is, most sports bettors are always gonna lose money. Like if you look up statistics, most online studies, stuff like that, say 97% of people lose money betting on sports long term. So only 3% of people make money betting on sports long term. And that's important, right? Like that you have to be better than 97% of people. The sports books are always going to make money off the average customer, right? Like if FanDuel was losing money to every single customer, they'd just go out of business. So it is kind of a competition. You do need to be better than other people. You do need to be more educated, more knowledgeable on sports betting than other people to actually win long term. So that's the purpose of this video. Without further ado, let's get into my first tip. So I want to be clear, you're already doing the right thing, right? You're watching educational sports betting videos. Most people just wake up, they're complete degenerates. They just find random bets with their gut and hammer them. Then they're confused why they have to keep depositing money. So I'm already, you're already probably maybe in the top 10% just by watching an educational YouTube video. And this is exactly what I did when I started to gamble. I barely bet money, right? I was betting like $1 or $2 per play. I was spending all of my time researching how do sharps make money? How do pro sports bettors make money? And I kept hearing about strategies like arbitrage betting, positive EV betting. So I was only betting a small amount of money, but I was ruthlessly tracking my bets to see my ROI. And I saw, hey, I'm making money. And kind of as I gained confidence that, hey, I have a positive ROI after 1,000 bets, 2,000 bets, I started to increase my bet size from there. And that ultimately got me here. So my first tip is line shop. Use multiple sports books, line shop. This is sports betting 101. Okay, so basically, all sportsbooks want to be unique. They all set their own odds, right? If every sportsbook had the exact same odds and lines, DraftKings, FanDuel were identical, we wouldn't need hundreds of sportsbooks. But that's not the case. All books want to be unique. They want to manage their own risk, so they set their own odds. So for example, on the Super Bowl, I bet $5,000 on the Eagles team total, over 23.5 points at -123 on a book called Rebet that's available in basically every state. So you may be thinking, you're just a degenerate. You just hammered the Eagles. And that's actually not the case. I thought this bet on Rebet had really good value. So you can see it's offered at -123. That's the price I got it on Rebet. And sharp sportsbooks like Bet Online had this at -150. I got really good value. Sports betting is about finding value, getting an edge, and winning long term. So long story short, you got to be using multiple sports books. You never know which book is going to have the best value on a given day. So you may be thinking, oh, Rebet maybe just offers really good value. All I need to do is sign up for Rebet. And that's not true. So I also bet on Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I got this at +180 on FanDuel. I bet, about $1,400 to win about $4K. And in this scenario, Rebet was offering a horrible price. They had Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing TDs at plus 121. Obviously, I'd rather bet $1,000 to win $1,800 profit on FanDuel at plus 180 as opposed to $1,000 to win like $1,200 on rebet. If you are not finding value, if you are not line shopping, you don't stand a chance at making money sports betting. If you're only using one sports book, you're screwed. If you're placing bets at plus 121 when you could be getting plus 180, you're screwed. You're not even going to stand a chance. It's like being a day trader and buying a stock at $150 versus $100. It makes no sense. You're going to get killed, right? And it's literally sports betting 101, line shopping. Line shop, line shop, line shop. Use multiple sports books. That's my first tip. And my second tip is take advantage of promos. Okay, so most of these sports books, you're already going to need multiple sports books to line shop, to always find the best possible value on all of your bets. But another reason to have multiple sports books is they all have different promos. Promos are the easiest money you're going to make sports betting. What is a promo? Like a sign-up bonus. DraftKings used to have an $1,000 deposit match. So what I did is I put in $1,000, they match it, give me $1,000 for free. Sure, there's a playthrough requirement, but this used to be, I'm not sure if their sign-up bonus is still the same. This used to basically be a free $1,000. So I've made videos previously breaking down sportsbook sign-up bonuses, and there's over, at the time I made the video, there was over $18,000 in free money that you could make on sign-up bonuses alone. So in other words, if you traveled to every single state and did the sign-up bonuses for all those sports books, because some books are only legal in certain states. For example, I went to Colorado. Colorado was the first state to legalize Sports Illustrated Sportsbook. And Sports Illustrated Sportsbook, when they entered the market in maybe it was 2019, 2018, they had a $7,500 risk-free bet. So in other words, your first bet, you bet it for $7,500. If you lose, you get your money back. This is super lucrative. Risk-free bets are super lucrative. This sign-up bonus on Sports Illustrated, I literally flew to Colorado to take advantage of it. That's how profitable it is. This sign-up bonus paid for my hotel, my flight, and I ended up a few $1,000s in profit. A $7,500 risk-free bet. You can always just hedge the other side to lock in a guaranteed profit. So long story short, promos are the easiest money you're going to make sports betting. A lot of people think, oh, all of these promos must be scams. Why would sportsbooks give out free money, easy value? And the reason is they're trying to lure you in. Sportsbooks like FanDuel, DraftKings, kind of the common statistic I've heard is sportsbooks make an average of $2,000 off their average customer each year. So they run promos, lucrative sign-up bonuses to try to appeal to people, get them in the door. They know they're going to lose a little bit of money initially on these deposit matches, but they know long-term that they're going to make money off the average customer, and they can always just cut down the bet sizes of profitable sports bettors. That's the business model. There's hundreds of sports books. These sports books need to, they need to stand out. They need to appeal. So a lot of these books are on promos, sign-up bonuses, prize picks, Sleeper, all these books will run pretty lucrative promos that you should be taking advantage of. Tip number 3, learn middle betting. Everything I'm going to explain in this video is sharp, profitable sports betting. This is how the pros do it. This is how betting syndicates do it. Okay, this isn't just, wake up, watch sports, smoke weed, and bet emotionally. This is sharp sports betting. So I said earlier, all books set their own odds and lines. Middle betting is a hedged strategy. When two books have super different lines from one another, you can bet the over on one book, the under on a different book, and you have a rare window of opportunity to win both bets. So let me just go through an example. College football last season, I noticed a big discrepancy, a 17-yard gap between FanDuel and Fliff. FanDuel had DJ's line at 192.5. Fliff was at 209.5. So I bet the over on FanDuel, the under on Fliff, and if he had 193 to 209 passing yards, which is, around where his distribution is centered, I would win both bets. And that's exactly what happened. It actually happened in 2 out of the first 4 games in the season. So when I bet this, he had 201 passing yards. So I won both my over 192.5 on FanDuel, as well as my under 209.5 on Fliff. A lot of people think about sports betting as, did you bet the over or the under? But sometimes when you find these market inefficiencies, when you find spots where 2 books are super out of sync, you can bet the over and then the under to have this window of opportunity where you can win both bets. So that's middle betting. I've done other YouTube videos on middle betting. It's a super profitable strategy. It's also fun. The entire game, I was rooting for a fun sweat for DJ to have between 193 and 209 passing yards. Obviously it hit. It's a fun sweat. So learn middle betting. That's my 3rd tip. 4th tip is learn arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting is the main strategy that pros use, sharps use, betting syndicates use to make money. It's not perfect. Some books are going to limit you. They're going to cut you off. But again, regardless of how you're making money sports betting, there are going to be sports books that limit you and cut down your bet size if you're making money, right? Like, I've used hundreds of sports books since I've started to gamble. And yeah, some books I've been limited on, and it doesn't really matter how you make money. If you're crushing a sports book, there's a good chance at some point they're going to lower your bet size or lower your max bet size. It's not fair, but it's just kind of part of the game. So arbitrage betting is when 2 sports books have such different odds, right? Similar to middle betting. Arbitrage is similar to middle betting. Arbitrage is when 2 sports books have the same line, but they have such different odds that you can bet the over on one book, the under on a different book, or equal and opposite teams. So if 2 teams are playing each other, you play Team A on Sportsbook A, Team B on Sportsbook B, and because these 2 books are super out of sync with their odds, you're guaranteeing a risk-free profit. You're basically hedging to lock in a guaranteed return. That's arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting is how I started sports betting. It's how I made my first $40,000. When I graduated from college, I spent a ton of time researching sharp, profitable sports betting strategies. I kept hearing about arbitrage. You know, I didn't have much money, so I was really attracted to the risk-free nature of arbitrage. I started arbitrage betting, made 40K, and that kind of inspired me to learn about other profitable betting strategies like middle betting. And then I started to dip my feet into those. So anyways, we're 4 tips in. Again, the first tip was line shop. Second tip, take advantage of promos, easy money, sign-up bonuses, stuff like that. You can make money just playing promos. You don't even have to gamble. You could just sign up for these sports books, take advantage of their deposit matches, their sign-up bonuses, make money, and then just never gamble again. You could do that. I used to help my friends when they'd visit me in Pennsylvania when I was working at SIG. I'd help my friends do all the sportsbook sign-up bonuses in Pennsylvania, and they'd walk away with thousands and thousands of dollars in risk-free profit just by taking advantage of these sign-up bonuses, deposit matches, risk-free bets. Anyways, tip number 3, middle bet. Tip number 4, arbitrage betting. That's the first 4 tips. If you do these things, again, we're going to go through 10 total. You're going to be in the top 1% of sports bettors, and you're 100%, I'm 100% confident. If you do all these things, you're going to make money sports betting, and you're going to make a lot of it. So tip number 5, it's not super applicable for arbitrage betting or middle betting, but when you're placing bets, when you're finding bets with an edge, you need to know how to manage your sports betting bankroll. So a lot of people will say, oh, bankroll management, it's super important. Why didn't you put it in the first 4 tips? And the truth is, bankroll management is definitely important, but it's also a solved equation. Okay, I've done videos on this YouTube channel about optimal bankroll management. It's a solved equation. When you're gambling, okay, you should be using the Kelly criterion. Again, this doesn't really apply to hedged betting strategies like middle betting, right? When you're arbitrage betting, you're betting the over on one book, the under on a different book. So bankroll management doesn't really matter. Same thing with middle betting. You're betting the over 192.5, the under 209.5. You're hedged, so it doesn't really matter. But when you're just placing bets on your own, you need to know how to manage your bankroll, but it's not that complicated. You should be using the Kelly criterion. There's a calculator on OddsJam, a Kelly calculator. And again, I've done videos on optimal bankroll management. So it's obviously important to do. You don't want to put your entire life savings on one bet. There's no locks in sports betting. There's no guaranteed wins. So bankroll management, fifth tip, very important. Don't get me wrong, very important, but it's also a solved equation. Just use the Kelly criterion when you're placing bets that are not with a hedge strategy like arbitrage or middle betting. So tip number 6 that I think is important is just kind of understanding how do sportsbooks work. I feel like there's a lot of surface level kind of advice given out on social media like, oh, Steph Curry's not playing, Draymond Green, they're not playing, so I'm taking the under in this game. It's going to be low scoring because a lot of the best scorers for the Golden State Warriors aren't going to be playing. But what a lot of people forget is all of this is already priced into the odds. Right? Sportsbooks are a betting market. They're not stupid. They're constantly adjusting their odds, based on lineup news, injury news, things like that. So I'll give you a simple example. Is here you can see a line movement chart from OddsJam for the Warriors Jazz game that was a few weeks ago. And the under 220 half points, it initially was a huge underdog, like plus 200, but Curry was ruled out. A lot of the top players in this game took a rest day, weren't playing. So you can see the under became much more likely. Like sportsbooks adjusted their odds. So long story short, books aren't stupid. Weather, lineup changes, it's already factored into the odds. If you think, oh, Giannis isn't playing, so I'm going to bet Damian Lillard's over in points, I'm outsmarting the sportsbooks. Sportsbooks aren't that stupid. These are multi-billion-dollar companies. FanDuel knows if Damian Lillard or Giannis isn't playing and they adjust their odds accordingly. This isn't to discourage you and say you can't make money sports betting, but very basic information like who's playing, who's not playing, what's the weather going to be, mainly for football. That's already factored into the market, into the odds that these books are putting out. Same thing in baseball, wins, stuff like that, So that's kind of my 6th tip. Tip number 7 is understand break-even win rate. So a lot of people talk about win-loss record in sports betting, but it's completely irrelevant. Win-loss record doesn't matter. If you go 10-10, right, placing bets at plus 500 odds, 10 wins, 10 losses at plus 500 odds, you're insanely profitable. If you go 10-10 at minus 500 odds, you've lost a ton of money. So it's really important because a lot of people talk about, oh, I've won my last 3 bets. I'm 60-40 in my last 100 bets. Everything depends on what price, what odds you're getting, right? So like, for example, if you're betting at minus 200 odds, you're betting 200 to profit 100. You need to win 2/3 of your bets to break even. You're putting down 200 to profit 100. So when you're betting on teams that are minus 200, you need to win 2/3 of your bets or more, right? 2/3 of your bets, you'll break even. If you go 200 wins, 100 losses with your bets at minus 200 odds, you're going to break even. If you win above 2/3 of your bets, above 66.7%, you're going to be profitable, placing bets at minus 200 odds. So for example, if you can win your bets at minus 200 odds 75% of the time, you're going to be profitable. If you can win your bets at minus 200 only 60% of the time, win 60%, lose 40%, you're going to be super unprofitable, right? So break-even win rate is really important. Minus 200 means you have to win 2/3 of your bets to break even. Over that means you're profitable. Under that means you're unprofitable. Again, too much content on social media is talking about win-loss record when it's completely irrelevant, right? If I'm placing bets at, plus 400 odds and I go 2-5, I'm profitable. When you're betting at plus 400, you're putting down 100 to win 400 profit. You only have to win 20% of your bets to break even. Right? So if you can win 25% of your bets or 30% of your bets at plus 400, you're going to be super profitable. You're losing more often than you win, right? If I'm placing bets at plus 400, sure, I'm only winning maybe 30%. I'm losing 70% of my plays, but I'm still insanely profitable because I'm winning much more when I win as opposed to what I'm losing when I lose. So that's kind of my 7th tip. So my 8th tip is that sportsbook odds are a source of information, right? We just went through break-even win rate. If all of the sportsbooks are saying a team is a -200 favorite, that means that team is a 2-to-1 betting favorite, about 2/3 to win, according to the market. So the same way a stock price signifies, company valuation, if Nvidia stock goes up by 10%, that means the company is 10% more valuable. Maybe there's some news, earnings reports, whatever, some things that send the stock up, and that signifies an increased value of the company. It means something. Stock price isn't some random number. It means something. It signifies the value of the company. So it's the same thing in sports betting, and I'll give you a simple example with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a very popular DFS app, so you may not have access to it. It's available in most states in the US, but still not every single state. But the way that Prize Picks works is they have fixed payouts. So what I mean by that is on Prize Picks, any 2-pick entry has a 3x payout. You're putting down 100 to win 300. So long story short, if I look at Trey Murphy, if I take Trey's over or under 9.5 rebounds plus assists, you can see I'm switching it around from over to under on the screen. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get the same payout regardless. For a 2-pick entry, I'm going to get a 3x payout. So the reason you want to be on the under is if you look at sportsbooks, every sportsbook, every betting market, every data point, all these books have Trey's under heavily favored. So for example, FanDuel has his under at -138. Bovada, they're a little more aggressive on the under. They have the under at -145. So even if you don't use these other sports books, they're a source of information. They're data points. So, long story short, the strategy for beating Prize Picks in other DFS apps, such as Better. So I'll give you another example of a play I locked in on Better was Cam Johnson over 2.5 assists. You can see all the sports books had Cam's over heavily favored. That's raw market data. That's a source of information. So even if you don't use these other sports books, these are data points, right? They're telling you, hey, Cam's a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. On Better, similar to Prize Picks, you take Cam's over or his under, I'm going to get the same payout regardless. So I want to be on the over because all the sports books have that outcome heavily favored. So that's my 8th tip is remember that sportsbook odds are a source of information. They tell you win probability. They tell you, what's more likely, the over or the under. And that's super valuable, especially when you're betting on Prize Picks, Better, and these other fantasy sports, DFS, pick'em, fixed payout websites. So my 9th tip is pretty obvious. You got to track your bets, right? If you're placing dozens of bets a day, every single bet has an edge. You're placing arbitrage bets, middle bets, whatever. If you don't know your results, how are you going to improve? I feel like I hear all the time from sports bettors, oh, I've been betting on sports for years. I'm pretty sure I'm profitable. How do you not know, right? You got to know if you're profitable or not profitable. You have to have the data so you can improve. Again, I said this earlier in the video, but when I started gambling, I was only betting $1 or $2 every single play. I was very uncomfortable with the idea of losing money, but I tracked my bets ruthlessly, and I saw, hey, over the course of thousands of bets, I still have a positive ROI. So from there, I started to increase my unit size, right? And now I'm obviously betting thousands and thousands of dollars on certain plays when I can get the action down. So again, tracking your bets, all it's going to do is, first of all, it's going to confirm you're profitable. If you're not profitable, something's got to change. If you've been betting on sports for months and months and months and you're losing money, obviously you should know that and you should change. And a lot of people don't know that. Most people don't track their bets. At the same time, if you are tracking your bets and you're seeing good results, that's going to help you build your confidence to put more money into your sports betting bankroll and to bet more. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to increase my unit size. I don't want to deposit more money into the sports books and ramp up my bet size. But if you see month after month, you have a 5%, 10% ROI, you're going to have the confidence to increase your bet size and bet more and more and thus make more and more money. So my 10th tip is don't get emotional. Don't chase your losses, right? As humans, winning feels good, but losing feels way worse. Like, if you think about it, losing $5,000 in a day feels a lot worse than how it feels in terms of feeling good to win $5,000. As humans, we hate losing. So a lot of people, they'll have a losing day sports betting. They'll start to bet emotionally. They'll chase their losses. Don't do that. Don't do that, right? Like, keep everything very data driven. What I do is every single day I place dozens of bets, arbitrage bets, middle bets, positive EV bets. Every single bet has an edge, right? Every single bet, I believe, has an edge, a positive ROI. And then I just sit back, I let the math work itself out. If I have a losing day, I don't gamble more the next day. I don't get emotional about my sports betting. I treat it like investing. I treat it like putting money into the stock market, right? Like, we all know it's pretty good advice to invest, to save some money for retirement. And I don't know, maybe you do. I personally don't. I don't check every single day to see if the S&P 500, if my 401k is up or down. I don't really care. I know long term it's good to invest some money, so I just put it in and I leave it. And I know when I check again in 10, 20 years, it'll probably be higher. Right? Like, the stock market usually goes up about 10% a year. So sure, there's some brutal downswings, there's brutal variance, but over the course of the long run, stock market's almost certainly going to go up as the US economy grows, whatever. So you don't have to get so emotional about checking your 401k every single day. Put in the money, right? Leave it. By the time you retire, it's going to be a lot bigger than it is right now. And it's kind of the same thing in sports betting. Understand sharp, profitable strategies like arbitrage, middle betting, positive EV. Place a bunch of bets that all have an edge. Then just let the math work itself out. Some days, I mean, it depends on the strategy you're using, right? Arbitrage is a risk-free betting strategy. You can literally make money every single day. But if you're using other strategies, like you're playing on prize picks, you're positive EV betting, you're going to have some winning days. You're going to have some losing days if you're not using a hedge strategy. And you just have to be able to kind of step back and see the results after a period of months. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, 10 tips. You understand, you do these 10 things. You don't chase your losses. You line shop. You take advantage of promos. You're going to make a ton of money sports betting. You're going to be in the top 1%, probably 0.1% of sports bettors. You're absolutely going to destroy the sports books, and that's obviously a good thing. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please comment other video ideas. I love making sports betting content. And again, thanks so much for your time.